What is the ideal size for a small group and why?
Okay, I guess the question that I have about that is ideal for what? And ideal for whom, even? There's all, different groups have different purposes. So if a group has a purpose of, well, let's say fellowship. Now, let me stop myself there because I don't really believe that a purpose of a group is really fellowship. I believe fellowship or community is an environment where the other things like discipleship and mission happen. But let's just say that a group meets for fellowship. Well, that could be a large group. That could be a group of 20, 25 maybe. And I won't go into more about a fellowship group and what they're all about. But let's talk about discipleship. I think discipleship is really tough to make happen in a large group. So a group of 8 to 12 or even less, maybe even 2 to 3, is the best size group. And I'll come back to that in just a moment. Accountability groups, I think, have to be real small in order to make them work right. What about like mission or ministry type groups? I think those can be larger groups. So the first question is purpose, and the other question is who is this group for? From what I understand about group dynamics over the years is that, say, college age groups can be really big and still work. For whatever reason, college students like to be in larger groups and they can make it work. But even as you look at those groups, you'll see pockets of friendships and relationships within that larger group. That just sort of naturally happen. The old standby for most small groups, couples groups, and other types of groups has always been like 8 to 12. I mean, that's sort of the old standby. But let me talk about discipleship for a moment, because I believe that most of us would say discipleship is the main function of most small groups, right? So I think that discipleship happens best in smaller groups. So what if you have a group of 8 to 12? This is where I try to break down a group by leadership with 2 or 3 people. And the model for this is Jesus, of course. So Jesus shared leadership with 2 or 3 guys, Peter, James, and John. And they were the ones that he really focused on. They were the ones that he really discipled and really shepherded. He spent most of his time and energy with those 3 guys. He didn't neglect the other, 9 guys. He spent time with them and they followed. But if you just read through the Gospels, even in a casual manner, you'll see that he spent most of his time with Peter, James, and John. So I think that's what a small group leader can do as well, is focus on 2 or 3 people in the group, share leadership with them, and then ask them to focus their attention on 2 or 3 others in the group as well. Share that leadership so that everybody is being cared for, everybody is being invested into and shepherded. And then that way, you're taking a larger group. When you're meeting, of course, you've got a group of 8 to 12 or so, but people are being cared for in a smaller size group of about 2 or 3 each.